Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2019 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now, over the last 2 seasons, Baku has given us absolute chaos, drama, heartbreak, excitement, pretty much everything you want from a Grand Prix. And following a very poor showing in China, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a race to remember this time around. Before I go over the stats ahead of this weekend though, let's have a quick look back at last year's Grand Prix. As I said there, it was another highly dramatic race with drama right from lights out all the way to the checkered flag. The race will be best remembered for the 2 Red Bulls coming together and taking each other out, which saw the safety car deployed, but prior to that, the 2 Bulls gave us some seriously good wheel-to-wheel racing. Roman Grosjean lost control of his car under safety car conditions and crashed out, although as I'm sure you'll remember, his engineer was pretty quick to blame a certain Swede for the incident. At the safety car restart, Sebastian Vettel tried to move on Valtteri Bottas but was late on the brakes, locked up, and that was his chance at the win gone. And Bottas, who had driven well all afternoon, looked set for the win, but after running over debris on the start-finish straight, he picked up a puncture and it was game over. Also, let's not forget the first lap action as Kimi Raikkonen took on Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso took on, well, the midfield basically. Thanks to that collision with Raikkonen, Ocon was in the wall and out of the race, and somehow, despite a double puncture and what looked like race-ending damage, Alonso managed to make his way back to the pits for repairs and eventually finished a brilliant 7th place, one of the comebacks of the season. Let's have a look at some of the information from 2018 then, and it was Sebastian Vettel on pole position with a time of a 1:41.498. Lewis Hamilton took the victory on Sunday ahead of Kimi Raikkonen and Sergio Perez, his second podium in Baku. Bottas set the fastest lap of the race, little consolation of course, with a time of a 1:45.149 on lap 37, and there were a total of 13 finishers in the Grand Prix, and thanks to that late safety car, they were all on the lead lap. As for the circuit itself, the track length is 6.003 kilometres, or if you would prefer that in miles, that is just over 3.7. There are 20 corners around Baku, that is 12 to the left and 8 to the right, and there will be 51 laps come Sunday. At time of recording, there are just the 2 DRS zones confirmed, the first between turns 2 and 3, and the second, of course, is down that super long start-finish straight. The race lap record, by the way, around Baku is a 1:43.441, and that was set by Sebastian Vettel back in 2017. The run from pole to the Turn 1 apex is just 218 metres, and the total pit lane lost time at 80 kilometres an hour is 23.4 seconds. The highest lateral G around the circuit is at Turn 19, and that comes in at 3.8, and drivers are at full throttle for 51% of the lap. With it being a street track, overtaking opportunities are limited, I think it's fair to say, but there are some good spots to make a move. Mercedes say that turns 1 and 3 make for the best opportunities, and I have to agree, especially with that super long run to the line. Absolutely love that final sector. We have seen moves attempted in turn 2, most notably last year with Kimi Raikkonen and Esteban Ocon at the start, but it does get quite tight at that point and overtaking is just impossible through the castle section. Maybe we'll see some moves into turn 16, but that would leave the overtaking driver really vulnerable down the long straight, so it may not be worth it. Really, the best bet is a DRS down the straight or any of the first 3 corners, maybe turn 4 as well. Now, the first race around the Baku City circuit was back in 2016 and was actually billed as the European Grand Prix for its first event. Since 2017, though, it switched to become the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. From its 3 races, we've had 3 different winners, but the pole sitter has only gone on to take victory once. The average winning margin in Baku is just over 7.8 seconds, with the biggest gap being 16.6 seconds, with the smallest being just shy of 2.5 seconds. It will come as no surprise really that the full safety car does like to make an appearance, with it being called a total of 6 times and 4 of those came in 2017. The only race not to feature a safety car was the first event back in 2016, and the fastest ever lap of the circuit was set by Lewis Hamilton in 2017. Once again, thank you very much to Lights Out Blog for providing the stats for this preview. If you do love a good stat, make sure you check out their website and give them a follow over on Twitter. On to the tyres for this weekend then, and the compounds available are the hard C2, the medium C3 and the soft C4. And I'm going to go over a little bit more data around the tyres in this preview. Pirelli are rating the tyre stress around Baku at 3 out of 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, obviously, with asphalt grip being 2 and abrasion 1. If you are interested, the minimum starting pressure on dry tyres is 21.5 psi for the front and 20.5 for the rear. And in terms of race strategy, last year's Grand Prix was one with a 2-stop strategy, although that was due to the safety car more than anything. So a 1-stop is probably the preferred option. The thing is though, with the safety car being such a regular feature around Baku, teams are going to have to think on their feet. Time for a quick weather report then, and at time of recording and according to the Met Office, it's going to be warm, sunny and dry, just like every year in Baku so far. We've yet to see any rain for a Grand Prix weekend there, and it isn't likely this weekend, with the highest chance percentage just 10, and that's for FP1 and FP2. Right then, let's have a quick look at some stories doing the rounds ahead of this weekend then, and Honda have confirmed that they are bringing updates to their power unit this weekend. The upgrade is centred around the internal combustion engine and is focused on improving durability, life and better reliability. Earlier this month, Helmut Marko said he hoped an upgrade that brings as much as an extra, quote, 20 more horses would be on the car in time for Baku. And ahead of the Grand Prix, Honda have stated that the Spec 2 version of the ICE will be on all 4 of their cars from the very start of the weekend. It was also added that Daniel Kvyat's mechanical problems in China were down to a quality control issue, and that is one of the reasons why the update has been pushed through. Lewis Hamilton has said that he needs to improve on his previous form around Baku and is wary of his teammates' form at the circuit. The Brit did win last year's Grand Prix, but by his own admission he was fortunate as his teammate retired from the lead just 2 laps from the end after picking up that puncture. Prior to the 2018 race, though, he had only managed 2 fifth-place finishes, although his 2016 race was compromised by being stuck in the wrong engine mode for several laps, and in 2017 his headrest did come loose. Speaking to Sky Sports F1 though, Lewis Hamilton said, "It's a really great track and it's one that I've honestly struggled at a little bit, particularly last year. It will be interesting and I'm going there with a mindset that I've got to try and improve my previous year's performance. I was fortunate to get the win there last year, but I wasn't quick enough really through the weekend. It's a place I expect Valtteri to be quick, and I expect the Ferraris to be particularly quick." His teammate Bottas, by the way, has said that he's keen to regain that championship lead in Azerbaijan, and I think it's fair to say that based on his form there last year, he's surely in with a shout of pulling that off. And finally, Kevin Magnussen is hopeful that Haas will be able to bounce back in Baku following a mixed start to the 2019 season. The team have been strong on Saturdays but have not been able to convert their apparent pace into points on a Sunday, having failed to score since the opening round in Australia. Magnussen confirmed that Haas were struggling with the tyres when the car is carrying race fuel and added that they still weren't quite sure why it was happening, saying, "The only difference there is between qualifying and the race is that you fill it up with fuel and do more laps on the same set of tyres. It's got to be something with the tyres. We don't understand the full picture yet, but we are working hard to figure it out." Hopefully for Haas's sake they can solve their issues, because based on what we've seen so far, they do look to be best of the rest in terms of outright speed at least. As I said about Renault the other week, how costly could this all be come the end of the season? And very quickly I should also add that Antonio Giovinazzi looks set for a grid penalty this weekend, as it is reported that he will need another set of control electronics, and that will be his 3rd change of the year already, taking him over the 2 per season threshold. And I believe that's a 10-place grid drop. Back in 2016, Sergio Perez put his Force India on the podium. In 2017, Lance Stroll did the same with his Williams. And in 2018, Checo became the only driver to take 2 podiums at the Baku City circuit with a 3rd place finish. It is pretty clear, therefore, that Azerbaijan likes to throw up some mixed results. So instead of a one to watch this weekend, I'm going to pick 2 drivers who I think could spring a surprise on Sunday, especially if we get yet more chaos. Now, obviously, Perez will be a very good shout, but I'm actually going to start with Kevin Magnussen. Yes, as stated a moment ago, Haas have had their struggles on a Sunday, and they've even said in the lead up to the weekend that they don't expect Baku to be their strongest track of the year. However, they do look to be the best of the rest at the moment, so if he keeps it clean and we get some drama ahead of him, he could well snatch that final podium spot. K-Mag will need to work on his own form for Azerbaijan though, having only finished in the points once, and that was in 2017, and his highest starting position is only 12th. The other driver I'm going with is Kimi Räikkönen. The Finn has gone well in Baku, finishing 4th in 2016 and 2nd in 2018. Of course, though, that was in a Ferrari, so the task this year will be much tougher. The thing is, though, he has been the most consistent driver so far in 2019 and has scored at each of the opening 3 races. He's the only driver outside of the top 3 teams to do that. He has also been pretty racy this year, as we saw last time out in China, and with his experience you'd expect him to be there to pick up the pieces should any of the top 6 face issues or are involved in incidents. Whatever happens this weekend though, it will be great to see a surprise podium for anybody outside of the top 3 teams. That is it then for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix preview, and in the comments section down below let me know your predictions ahead of this weekend. Who do you think will put it on pole position on Saturday? Who are you expecting to take the win on Sunday? And which drivers are you keeping an eye on? Now, there is no qualifying watch along this weekend, however I will be back at around 8 PM UK time on Saturday with the qualifying report, and then I'll be live twice on Sunday with the race watch along and the race reaction stream. In the meantime though, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.